Hey beans, and welcome to another conspiracy. Today we're going to be talking about something that's been on my mind for a long time and I've brought up in a few videos, but was finally answered by my amazing conspiracy bean, Azabeth. So, the diamond shop is the most expensive shop in all of Jamaa. It has the best items, it's the most expensive, it costs real life money to really get all the items you want, at least before the Member Daily Spin came out. Yet, it's the most damaged room in all of Jamaa. If you look closely, there are cracks on the walls, certain things are falling apart, it just seems like it's in a state of disrepair and no one has gone ahead and fixed all these cracks and errors within this incredibly valuable and brand new shop. In fact, this is the newest shop in Animal Jam if you don't include like little party shops. But for some reason, this thing is so damaged. So why is that? Now, the first thing that I've had a few people theorize in some of these videos where I've brought it up is that there's a natural disaster that occurred, some sort of earthquake or flood or something like that that somehow damaged the diamond shop. And this makes sense at first, but the question is, why is the damage only on the inside of the diamond shop, and why haven't the buildings around it, like Club Geos and Soul Arcade, been damaged by this hypothetical earthquake as well? Since this obviously couldn't have happened, this has to mean that the damage came from inside the shop, and that's why the columns and the Arctic Wolf statue are damaged. So what could have caused interior damage? What sort of powerful beings or powerful forces do we have inside the diamond shop? The only things I can think of are the giant Arctic Wolf statue or the diamonds themselves. After all, these things are very, very powerful. There's a reason that they're the most expensive currency in all of Animal Jam, and the people long for them, and they're worth these gigantic and awesome items like spikes and new animals. You can exchange diamonds for animals. But let's talk about the Arctic Wolf first. This seems like the most logical thing to happen. There are tons of myths about the Arctic Wolf. There was, for some reason, some weird theory that if everyone dressed up as white, you could get a bunch of free diamonds, and if everyone dressed up as an Arctic Wolf and danced around it, then the Arctic Wolf statue would break, which didn't make sense. It was completely on... I don't even know how that thing started. It's kind of like the bridge in the ice rumors, that if you jump on stuff enough, it will break. It's just crazy stuff the community makes up based on little evidence, like the fact that there is a crack in the Arctic Wolf statue, and that's about it. But the reason that most people assume that this damage must have come from the Arctic Wolf is because there are a lot of myths about it. It's very mysterious. You know, why an Arctic Wolf? Why is there a giant Arctic Wolf statue in the middle of this shop? Who even started this shop? But since the statue itself has a bunch of damage done to it, and also there seems to be no evidence that the statue has any sort of magical power or anything, and just that it's kind of there and you can buy animals from it, I don't think it was the statue that did this, despite some popular belief. But rather, I'm going to go with a route that most people don't take and say that it was the diamonds themselves that have caused this damage. In Animal Jam, there's a lot of magic. Alphas have magic, animals themselves coming to life and being able to inhabit Jamaa is magic, and those things get their magic from like gems and stones. In this case, it's heartstones and alpha gems, like the thing in Greely's eye, the things in like people's staffs, all those things that give animals and alphas power are all stones. You know, you have gems, which are stones that you're able to trade, you have gold bricks, silver bricks, all the power and magic in Animal Jam originates from stones and gems, and apparently now, diamonds. But diamonds are the most powerful currency. They're used to buy things like animals, which means that they're almost as powerful as heartstones, because heartstones control the animals. Heartstones are the little beans that you use to hold an animal in Jamaa, that allow an animal to exist in Jamaa. Each animal has its own special heartstone that contains a huge power to it, and yet you can use diamonds to buy new animals. The reason you can't use gems to buy new animals, I think, if Animal Jam wants to use the lore to justify the fact that they want money, is that the new animals are so powerful and awesome that you can only buy them using these like mock heartstones that have more power than just a regular gem. Now, there couldn't be a ton of magic hidden in these diamonds. It's not like we're walking around using alpha stones to buy our things. But there has to be some element of magic. That's why the diamonds do things like they sparkle all the time, even when there's no light reflecting on them. That's why they're able to be exchanged for awesome old member gifts and like nature archways and spikes, but they still have enough power to be valuable. So they're not powerful enough or too powerful to like destroy us when we touch them or to like destroy everything, but they're just powerful enough that they're valuable and they radiate some sort of magical energy or some sort of evil magic being, you know? Because all magic in the end can really be converted to a bad purpose, and a lot of the time this magic is too powerful for the world itself. And so, I mean, that's why things like alpha gems and stuff have to be controlled by the alphas themselves, is because the alphas are the only ones who are strong enough to hold this incredible magic that we know comes from various gems and stones around Jamaa. You see, gems really aren't worth that much. They don't have that much magic to them. You can just get them from this hypothetical mine in Mount Shavir like crazy, and they're not worth that much. I'd imagine they're kind of like the coal of Animal Jam if you play Minecraft. And so they're not really worth that much, so we can use them as this baseline currency that's given out when you play games that you can buy simple items like tables and chairs with. But again, when you want to get bigger, more fancy, more expensive items, well, you're going to have to go for the more magical items. And one day, maybe we'll get alpha stones or alpha gems as items. And maybe this is why Animal Jam released those healing staffs for like a day, but then took them back. But some people saw them. Some people who are very, very bad jammers got into the developer's website and saw these alpha healing staffs before they were ever actually released. And we have pictures of these alpha healing staffs. And maybe the reason that they were never released is because us animals, or rather, okay, us animals in the game, I'm not like a tiger in real life. You know what I mean? I'm an animal, but don't have the power to control these alpha gems. There's a reason that when the alphas were given these alpha gems, they were given new powers, because now they are the only ones who are strong enough to control them. And maybe that's why capturing alphas is so important to the phantoms, is because gems and stones hold so much power that if the phantoms could get a hold of someone like Greeley, that's why he's wanted and they want to take him and get him, then they could harness the power of his alpha stone and use it against Jamal. And maybe, just tying all the way back into my Mount Shavir as a volcano conspiracy, maybe the reason that Greeley can control the eruptions like he did in Greeley's Inferno and the Search for Greeley is because of his alpha stone in his eye, like this thing. Maybe that is what controls the volcano, and that's why he's able to blow up the volcano, and that's why the phantoms wanted to get a hold of him and make him backstab his friends, because they knew that they could take the volcano in Mount Shavir and use Greeley's alpha stone, which by the way has a ton of magic because it's a gem and it's only controlled by the alphas, to explode an entire volcano. And if Greeley has the power to control a volcano, then oh man, I can't imagine what the rest of the guys do. I'd imagine Cosmo has the power to like grow a plant or something fantastic like that. No, but I'd imagine Sir Gilbert is something crazy like being able to summon an entire army, or maybe Greeley can like go totally invisible and like ninja the boys. You know, maybe Liza has the power to like care for a lot of people at one time. You know what I'm saying? So let's take a step back. Animal Jam is a very unrealistic game. There are a lot of things that really couldn't happen in the world we know today, but are apparently made plausible and possible by these gems and stones that are hidden all around Jamal. And there seems to be some sort of magic in things like the diamonds. And this magic obviously has destructive power, but can also be used for good. And this is another reason why the jammers and the phantoms want to fight so badly, because these gems and stones are so valuable. Do you remember way back when, like 2 months ago, in the messages in a bottle, Animal Jam sent us a message from the sheep that said, "We found this diamond underneath our cell." And that happened twice. Diamonds were being kept by the phantoms. And at first everyone was like, oh, Animal Jam's just trying to give us diamonds. But maybe these diamonds really do play some sort of significance in the lore. And even though they have this tiny little power, the phantoms are actually able to use these diamonds for some sort of destructive power. Just like we've accidentally used them to destroy the diamond shop, because when you put them all in one spot, then, you know, they destroy things. And this also makes me imagine what happens if they get all of the alpha stones in one spot. What if the phantoms are actually able to capture every single alpha like they want to, like they've said is their plan, to capture alphas and convert them onto their side and combine all the alpha stones? Imagine how much power they would have if they could do things like, for example, blow up the volcano that Greeley controls, summon the army that Sir Gilbert controls, you know, turn themselves all invisible with Greeley's power. Could you imagine how much power it would have? Not to mention, it would all radiate out and like destroy stuff, just like the tiny little magic that we have from the diamonds has done to the diamond shop. This could be disastrous, and it's why the alphas are so important. Not only are they leaders, but they also contain these very valuable magic things, and that's why it's so terrible that Peck's earring was found, because Peck's alpha stone isn't visible anywhere on her character. People have guessed that it's like in her paintbrush and stuff, but the best guess is that it's in her earring, and that's why it's so bad that she lost her earring. This means that the phantoms now have control of an alpha stone. Most likely. We can't be totally sure on this one, but it seems like the only reason that Peck losing an earring would be important to the lore, other than just telling us that Peck is somewhere because we found a remnant of her. So if the phantoms have control of Peck's earring, we don't know what it does, but it could be really bad. For all we know, it could be Peck just like approves your masterpieces, and like the phantoms now control approving masterpieces or something like that. But Peck could also have a serious effect on the game, because Peck is like a designer, is like the creator of a lot of stuff. And if phantoms have control of like creation, well, they could start sending us false messages, or like entering our world as like fake art forms, or you never know what every single alpha stone has attached to it. And that's why it's so risky. Very spooky stuff. But for now, I think we've covered enough about this video. That is why I think the diamond shop is falling apart, and how I think it relates to the lore in a bigger sense of we could all die if this is true. So anyways, Beans, thank you so much for watching. I hope one day I make enough conspiracies where we can understand the conflict between jammers and phantoms, but for now, we're just piecing the lore together. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!